Holy cow, guys! Javi freaking Baez. It's holy cow. I'm Chase. I got Greg and I got Lacey joining me today.
Hey,
How are
good
you
afternoon,
guys?
good morning, good evening.
Good
Hi,
morning. 9 a.m. Facebook, Instagram, TV, and YouTube on Tuesdays. Guys, it's been a good week. The Cubs are 2 games out from first place in the NL Central. They were able to take 3 out of the 4 against the Cards. They took 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals. They took 3 out of 4 from the Nats. It was a busy 7 straight days.
Like
lot
I
of
said, if we can win every series, we're in good shape. I mean, we're not going to, I know that, but you know what? Washington's a decent team. St. Louis is in first, so it's not like we, played the Tigers or even the Pirates, which are coming up.
Right.
A win is a win. I'll say that.
Yeah, and they've had some decent luck, honestly, with better teams. It's weird, but they're kind of finally hitting our stride. We'll cover all of that, look at everything. But you know what? All of this is brought to us by our friends at Monkey Knife Fight. We'll talk about them here in a few minutes. But Lacey, before we go ahead and get into all the good stuff, why don't we talk about those power rankings?
Yes, power rankings. So we have the Padres at number 1 that have moved up 5 spots.
Wow.
They actually tied with the Red Sox, who have stayed the same at number 2. We have the White Sox as well, that's gone down 2 spots. Dodgers down a spot. Giants up 1 spot. Then we have the Astros, Yankee, Rays, A's, and Cardinals. And then the Cubs come in at a sad number 15, but that's still 3 up from what they were. They were 18.
Middle of the pack. They are middle of the pack. And that's what we said. 500 baseball is what we're expecting. But this is kind of throwing a little kink in the plans, I think, because I think they were going to be big sellers. And right now where things are at, we've got a shot. Last I checked, they were, 2.5 games out from that wild card spot to make it in the second wild card spot for the NL. So, a lot of things can happen. I know it's a little bit of a different feel. I think now they're starting to realize that this is a regular season. I think that they're actually 3.5 games out. I think now, I was reading some stuff where they're actually starting to get into a groove and things are starting to happen. But we'll just go ahead and jump into the first series last week. It was the Washington Nationals and the Chicago Cubs. It was pretty fun because it was a return for some of our favorite players. Kyle Schwarber, who we remember, just loves to crush baseballs. He loves to hit the hell out of them, and he did that while he was in Chicago. He was left a treat out in left field. It was a Twix, and his very next at bat, he says he ate the Twix and cranks one out.
My kind of man. Twix.
Yes.
Candy bars. I love it.
That's the thing about baseball. That's what I love about it. Fat guys can play and be good.
Yeah.
It's great. Also, John Lester pitched. There was a picture of him tipping his hat for the crowd right before he pitched. I was really kind of shocked that he did that. I figured he would maybe wait, come out, maybe give a little curtain call towards the end, but right then and there, trying to get in your groove, and it almost kind of looked like he was crying there. The older he
There's
gets,
no
the more
crying
he
in
looks like
baseball.
Hey, there is at Wrigley Field apparently. So they were able to take 3 out of the 4 with a win the first night, 7-3 with 12 hits and no errors. Washington had a little bit of some issues. They just never really woke up. It was kind of one of those games where I was never really concerned, even though there were some runs being scored. I didn't think anything was going to happen, just kind of out of the blue. I didn't expect them to be that dominant over the course of the series. The one loss they had, which was in the 3rd game, was only by 1 run, and it was stayed real competitive throughout. Their second game, it was 6-3, 13 hits. So, guys, here's the cool thing. The Cubs haven't been shut out since the end of April.
That is pretty cool.
So, I know there for a while we were like, oh, my gosh, no one hits. They do hit. No one scores. Runners left on. that doesn't seem to be the problem anymore. I mean, even when they're losing, it's still they're able to put a couple of runs on the board. So they finally hit that stride. The cool thing as well that we're talking about problems was pitching. And I know Greg hates this, but Andrew Chafin coming through for us.
I'll be the first to say he really has. I mean, he made me want to throw things up my screen a couple months ago, and he's done much better. I will say that he's done much better. Here's hoping that continues. I mean, he came in last night. I thought pitched well. I mean, really, all of our relievers this past week, I thought they all did pretty well. When you think about it, you lose only 2 games last week, and both of those are 1-run losses. Break here or there, we could have very easily been undefeated last week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even the third game, they lost 3-4. The hits and everything. I mean, it was a very evenly matched game, which I kind of thought was going to be what was going to happen throughout the series. I thought this is going to be a little bit more of an evenly matched series than the St. Louis games, because St. Louis really only had the one blowout, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But this game really had a feel of what I thought the actual 4 games against Washington was going to look like. Then they were able to bounce back that last night and take it 5-2 with 10 hits. Washington had some error issues there. It really wasn't that cool of a series.
No, I do think we kind of caught a break. We didn't see Max Scherzer, which that's fine with me. I mean, if you don't have to see their best, the law of averages works both ways. But
Max Scherzer's he's lights out.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see looking into the future if Washington continues to just kind of dog paddle in the middle of the standings. Because I think isn't he a free agent this fall?
I believe I believe this is his final.
I was thinking I saw he was a free agent, so they might be inclined to field him somewhere. I don't know.
They saw Scherzer in the third game. That was the game they lost.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I didn't think we saw him at all.
Yeah, no, Scherzer was that third game, which they lost. And I think a lot of that could also go with the fact that 3 out of the 5 starting pitchers we don't expect to see after the 5th inning. And that's kind of one of the deals. What was that stat that you had, Lacey, talking about with the loss in finals?
5-2 loss in finals. 5-2 loss. Cubs gave them their 5-2 loss.
Gotcha. Okay, I saw that in the notes, and I was like, "Well, let's talk about that." And they were down 2-0. So
yeah, they were.
Okay, but yeah, it was. It's definitely shaping up to be a lot better of a season than what we were even thinking last week. I mean,
that's what my concern is right now. I know I'm biased, but I think they're in it for most of the season. I don't see them fading right now, but does the front office still have plans to start getting rid of people? I mean,
well, let's talk about odds right now, because this feels like a good time to interject there. For the Cubs, playoff odds right now are 36.1%, and a World Series odd is 1.1%.
Yeah. Cash in that retirement, Greg. I have a feeling on a hunch here, bud.
Yeah, so the odds aren't very good. However, we're second. So, I don't know. Who knows how this will turn out?
36%?
36.1% playoff odds. Got that stat right before we went on.
Really?
And
okay, so that's
World
up to
Series
date.
1.1. Yep, as of today.
I think
Record 24-22.
One thing that's going to help the Cubs, at least right now, and I could be wrong, I don't see anybody out there, I'm talking all 30 major league teams, that right now is head and shoulders above everybody else. I know everybody talks about preseason, it was the Dodgers, it was the Yankees, it was the Cardinals. The Dodgers aren't in first place. I mean, the Giants have been playing very well. even the Padres are playing well out west. The Yankees still aren't in first. I mean, they may get there by the end of this time next week.
Lord, I hope not.
Anyone but the Yankees. But the Red Sox have been playing well. And I'm still thinking that Toronto is going to catch fire sometime soon. I don't know if changing ballparks at the end of this week will make a difference, but we'll have to wait and see. But
yes.
The Red Sox are staying level in the power rankings. I mean, they're not really moving. They're just staying the same, which, to be honest, if I was, the Red Sox, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, I don't think they've played the Yankees yet this year. I could be wrong, but
I don't think they have not. They have not played them yet.
So the Yankees are 7th in the power rankings.
That's 18 games right there still to be played.
Right.
So,
well, and I think really though, out of the list of the people that have been talked about as coming back or teams been powerful, really it's been the Dodgers that have been the outliers.
Yeah.
Finally San Diego's back without the COVID protocol people gone. They lost most of their team to a COVID incident, so now they've got them back. Now they've got the best record in baseball right now, and now finally. Los Angeles is kind of coming around, it seems. We were able to see Los Angeles playing the Cubs at a great time to play the Dodgers because the Dodgers were just crap. I mean, they were going south and it just looked like it was just falling apart. But Sunday when they shut out the Giants there in that little rivalry, I think that was kind of a turning point for them. Bellinger looks like he's on his way back. They will probably be a team here in the next couple of weeks to really contend with something there in the NL West. I think the main thing that's pretty interesting is the Giants, how well the Giants have done. The old guys have kind of put on that last little run, and I feel like maybe that's what the Cubs are kind of doing here.
Yeah, and the Giants are 5th right now. They've actually moved up a spot.
Right.
The power rankings have the Padres and the Red Sox actually tying, but because the Padres moved up 5 spots and Red Sox stayed the same, they actually ended up putting the Padres as number 1.
Gotcha. See, because that whole there's only a game out, 2 games out in the AL West, 2 games separating first and third. That's a very competitive league.
And the Cardinals are going into Dodger Stadium next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
And it's a good time for the Dodgers to hit that stride.
Absolutely.
So
they've got 2 in Houston tomorrow and Wednesday, which that would be fun to watch.
Right. The Cardinals are actually, playing the 3 games in Chicago, just on the other side of town, where you don't leave your car unlocked. And that's a really good team. I mean, I thought the AL Central was going to be a little bit more competitive than what it is. I thought Minnesota was really going to shine. Minnesota's kind of fizzled out, which has been great. I know no matter if you're a Cubs or a White Sox fan, if you live in Chicago, you've been following the just keeping up with the Kardashian mode on Tony La Russa, Lance Lynn, with all of them. So if you have been living under a rock, let's go ahead. I can never say his name for the White Sox. Oh, I knew I was going to do this when I brought it up.
Just spell it. Unless you're illiterate too.
I might be illiterate too. So the White Sox beat the Minnesota Twins in a really bad fashion. It was 16-4. It was just no good. Well, they finally put in a position player to pitch. That's where things go wrong. And Yermin Mercedes is how I'm going to say it. Decides this is the time on a 3-0 pitch, I'm going to pimp a homer. And he does. And he cranks that bad boy out. The pitch was like 47 miles an hour. they get back into the dugout, they get into the locker room, whatever, in the clubhouse, and boom, it hits that Tony La Russa says during the deal that he's going to have to suffer consequences within the organization, within the clubhouse. The next game out, Minnesota throws at him, throws behind him. They eject him. La Russa says, hey, I don't have a problem with how that was handled. Lance Lynn says this is why the game sucks, basically, that we have all of these old school rules and they don't need this to happen to them.
Man, I hate when we start going into like the old school rules. Like now everything has new rules and there's new. I mean, I wish to God there was no replay. It's just not for me.
Absolutely.
I
Well,
want the old school All-American baseball. Like I want the umpire screaming. I want like dirt being kicked on the shoes, people spitting. Like I want all of it.
After last night, though, I'm okay. Well, with Sunday night's game, I'm okay with the robot strike zone because that guy, 30 years old, rookie.
he wasn't that great.
What was it? 64 called strikes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not pretty.
No, I'm one of those people when I watch a game, if the calls are not there, I'll literally take off my glasses and be like, "Hey, you need these?" Like that's the type of person I am with sports. I do that. My son's 10. I do that at his games sometimes.
Yeah,
I can't handle it.
You want to brush that plate off so you can see the corner?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they're calling strikes up here. I'm like, really?
Well, that's easy if you've got a player like Jose Altuve. I mean, really, like he's 5'1" on a good day.
It doesn't matter. A strike zone should be a strike zone for everybody. Like, I mean, that's just my opinion. It shouldn't be just like, I mean, don't even get me started on all this new age bullcrap technology stuff.
That might be a great topic for a future show. What I call the unwritten rules of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's what they're talking about.
Well, like, swinging on a 3-0 count. So I never saw a problem with that. If, 9 times out of 10, batter takes that fourth pitch and it's a called strike.
Mm-hmm.
So why shouldn't the batter be allowed to swing the bat? Now, and I don't know exactly at what point you don't, but if you're stealing bases and you've got an 8 or 9 run lead late in the game, that's kind of bush league. I don't necessarily agree with that, but you know what? Teams have proven over and over you can come back. I mean, look what the Cubs did against the Cardinals.
Yeah, just rallied it. Everyone turned their rally hats on, and
that 8th inning last Friday night might have been the best inning of baseball I've seen for the Cubs all year.
Mm-hmm.
That if you're a Cub fan, that was glorious. And it's like, God, keep scoring.
Right.
Beat it by 15, beat it by 20. But,
yes.
Then I found myself the next night saying, geez, I wish we had some of those runs from last night for today.
And hopefully that's changing. I mean, I think that 4-game home stretch there with Washington was great. And then they got to head on down to the boring city, St. Louis Cardinals.
And again, I'm like wearing these Cardinal earrings, but it's only because my kid plays for the Cardinals. We have a baseball game to get to.
A true Cubs fan would pull their kid out of that school.
Listen, my kid's not in that school, but the school he goes to doesn't have youth baseball.
Oh, no.
So take it.
A real Cubs fan would start a youth baseball program for that school and call it the Cubs.
Okay, a real Cubs fan would probably have more money, too, to do that.
No, I don't know. I know a lot of poor Cubs fans.
Yeah, that's my point.
So the Cubs were able in that first game against St. Louis just rout them 12-3 on 12 hits, guys. 12 hits.
That's amazing.
So that's a run to hit ratio. That is a good ratio. That's what I'm talking about.
That might be my favorite game of the season so far.
Yes, Jock Peterson with that home run. I mean, just that feeling that was going on inside of that whole stadium. I think that really could turn things around because they could feel the hatred, and they like that feeling. They like being hated. I like them being hated in St. Louis.
and I've stated this before, I love Jock Peterson. I think he brings something to our team that I just hope we don't trade him off at the deadline and decide that he's short-term rental, because I do think he goes out there, he plays hard, he does what he's supposed to. He doesn't hurt us out in the field either. And much as I do miss Kyle Schwarber out in the outfield was always kind of a liability. I mean,
well, he was a catcher by trade.
It doesn't matter. I mean, when you're in, and I can be the biggest critic. I'm more negative than positive. I get it. But when you're playing professional sports, you need to be able to go from spot to spot, position to position. You need to be interchangeable or you're replaceable. And that's just all there is to it. You can't afford mistakes in the big leagues. You just can't.
And I think that's what Chris Bryant is. I mean, to me, he has shown his true worth to the Cubs this season by third base, outfield. I mean, he's
played first base. He stepped in for Rizzo when Rizzo went out during the Washington game.
Right. That's the point.
He's done a great job.
Mm-hmm. Interchangeable players.
Now, Saturday was interesting. Saturday was a great game. Got into the late innings. You know, the top of the ninth, it got really interesting. They did lose the game 2-1, 5 hits, 1 error. St. Louis had 6 hits, no errors. It got really kind of funny. Did either of you guys get to watch the game?
No.
I watched all 3.
Okay. So, Greg, I'm going to ask if you were watching. I'm assuming you were watching there in the top of the ninth with the weird bunt.
I love bunts. I love bunts.
Well, it wasn't even a bunt. It was a swinging bunt.
So it's a slap?
Not on purpose. It was like it was just a shank of all shanks. And the ball rolled, and it was rolling fair, and it started to roll foul, and he picked it up, and the umpire was like, no, it's fair. It's fair. Yachty loses his mind.
Wait, was there a replay of it?
They couldn't replay it.
But it wasn't real definitive as to, and the thing is, the umpire was literally right on top of the play.
Yes.
So unless he was legally blind, which I've heard that about umpires before, he made the right call.
In the Cardinals' defense, and in both teams' defense, there were some real botched calls throughout the whole series. The umpiring crew that was there was just crap. I mean, 64, I think it was like 64, 50, 65 straight, like called strikes in this strike zone Sunday night. That call on Saturday was weird. It looked like it had gone foul, but right when he decided to pick it up, it was right on the line. I mean, you could see no dirt between the ball and
fair ball.
Yeah, and so then it puts a runner on. So now you've got an opportunity to tie it with a good single or double if he's taken off. But then that was kind of it. It fell apart. But that kind of led to that precursor for the third game, which went into extra innings. But Chicago able to pull it out 2-1 on only 3 hits. 3 hits that night. It was a pitcher's duel. I'm not going to lie. Davies got out of some miserable spots on that field.
Well, that what was it? 6th, 7th inning, bases loaded, no outs. I thought, man, we're cooked. They're going to get at least 1 and probably 2 or 3. They're playing at home. It wasn't a full house yet, but the crowd was loud. I'll tell you what, to me, the Cardinals lost that game that inning.
Yes.
Because psychologically, again, you've got bases loaded, nobody out, and you've got your best hitters coming up.
Well, and really, though, he shouldn't have even had bases loaded at that point. That call there in the 7th inning on the bunt where he threw, I mean, he got him out at third. I mean, it was clear as day he was out.
He was out twice. I mean, he tagged him, and then the foot was on the bag, and then he tagged him going by.
Yeah.
How often do you guys know the stats on how often we see bunts in these series?
Not enough. I mean,
No, there's not.
Bunts are so underrated. I feel
I
like they're
think
so
back
underrated.
to the 70s when I really truly developed my love for the game. You know, the sacrifice bunt was used and players could put it down.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing, is that I know we work on it in spring training. I'm sure we work on it during the regular season, but how many players have you seen in the last 2 or 3 seasons that can really put a bunt down?
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, it used
I
to.
mean, 80% accuracy rate.
Well,
Right.
even back in like 2013, 2014, I remember going to games and getting there early and watching batting practice. And that was really kind of how, in batting practice, you started out batting practice. You would lay down a couple of bunts on your first couple of pitches to really kind of find where the ball was. That was kind of one of those little tricks that you learned. All right, bunt a couple, put your bat out there, find out where the ball's coming, and then we're going to go ahead and hack, because most pitchers most batting practice pitchers have kind of a, where they're going to throw. You need to find that ball. Now you don't really see that. It's launch angle, exit velocity. We'll take your strikeouts as long as you give us home runs. But the Cubs have made it work where they're playing almost kind of like a new modernized small ball. Lots of singles, lots of doubles. There's a lot of things going on. I see players actually trying to lay down bunts, though.
Well, I think in seasons past, at times we relied too much on the long ball.
Yes.
We would always hope that, let's get somebody on base, boom, someone hit it. And a lot of times that backfired on us. We get nothing out of it. And
Right.
I've always been a fan of the small ball game. I mean, I love watching a home run, but I also love watching a well-executed sacrifice fly, sacrifice bunt, double steal. I mean, all the things that we grew up watching in the game. But
Well, Ron Washington there, and when Ron Washington was with the Rangers, he did a lot of small ball. He was a big fan of the small ball. But you were talking about that long ball, and we finally got our way with a long ball with Javi Baez Sunday night.
Oh, man.
Cranking one out.
So I have some stats for you guys on Baez.
All right.
Stat girl tonight. So, batting average wise, we have Chris Bryant at .312, and then Rizzo at .258, and then we have Baez steady over the last 4 games. Yeah, 4 games at .255, and he's averaging that for the season as well. So he is. Yep, he is cruising and he is steady.
I can take 255.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's the thing now is these perfect games, these or no hitters that are being thrown, 6 of them before June 1st. 255 is a good batting average for a lot of players.
Home run wise, Baez has 11 home runs. Then you have Bryant with 10, Contreras with 8, and Rizzo with 5 next in line. So, I mean, we're doing great. It's just,
absolutely.
I mean, think about that steadiness with Baez. Like, he ain't swaying. He's dead freaking fast. I love it.
And it's I know we were talking earlier about how we hated the commentary for Sunday because Alex Rodriguez, which, by the way, if you're ugly, I guess you can buy his men's makeup line he has now.
Stop it.
Hey, apparently it helps out with underneath the eyes. I'm going to try it out.
Oh, is it black? Like, are we going old school with the black lines?
No eye black. Sometimes he's in meetings and he's got to touch up his face. I don't know. I can't judge anymore.
I didn't like him as a player, and I like him even less as an announcer.
No.
Yes.
Nothing.
I thought the only thing he ever did good was Jennifer Lopez, and apparently he didn't even do that good because she left it.
She's back with Affleck.
Yes. So Alex Rodriguez did bring up a point about Javier Baez. Javier Baez is, at the end of the year, free agent. Are they going to try to keep him? There's going to be a lot of people wanting to bring him to him, but he's not a traditional shortstop.
Here's the thing. With that, though, sorry to interrupt. With that, you got Chris Bryant, who is looking at $200 million right now for another contract.
Yes.
$200 million, and then the Cubs want to keep him too. Where are they going to free up their money? Who's going?
Well, someone's going to go. I think they really thought Rizzo was going to give him a hometown extension during spring training. That didn't happen. So now they're reworking it. Jed Hoyer is probably around the clock thinking about what he's going to do. But the thing that was brought up about Javier Baez was that Baez isn't your traditional shortstop when it comes to the batting order. A lot of shortstops bat in either a leadoff position, a third or a fourth spot, but he doesn't play small ball. He doesn't bat for contact. So there kind of goes away that leadoff position. He strikes out way too much to have him in a third or fourth. So he's going to move down the line fifth or sixth. So really, you've got to have a lot of depth in that batting order to really make Baez be a bang for your buck.
Well,
I mean, you're going to pay him. He's going to get paid by somebody.
Well, you got, like I said, the top four. You have Bryant, Rizzo, Contreras, and then Baez. So you got four leaders, but how many of those are going to be free agents? Or
Rizzo and Bryant and Baez.
Right. Three of the four.
Yes.
And they're the top. So what does that say?
Well, everybody knows someone's going to have to leave. I mean, they're not going to be able to keep this team. They've played way too well. People know it's who's going to sign for what is what's going to happen. I mean,
that's going to make a huge determination.
I really hope we don't have like an NFL situation here where we got
the good thing about the good thing about Contreras is they have him through 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, if you look at it in the ranking for the top 12 players based, in their WAR, Chris Bryant is a 2.0 WAR, which is wins above replacement. Wilson Contreras 1.3, Rizzo's 1.2, Javier Baez 1.2. So really, those four guys that you were talking about performing, I mean, yeah, it's straight across the board. Then you have Kimbrel, Nico Horner, which, good Lord, that guy is great.
We have to find a way to keep him. I love that play.
He was a first-round draft pick, and he's showing every reason why.
Yeah.
Here's my thing with first-round draft picks. They usually get hurt really fast. And
they're a bust.
They are. They're either hit or miss, and then they'll have one good season, and then you don't hear from them again for a while.
Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, King Griffey Jr., those are your outliers in that situation.
You know what I would love to see? Instead of starting out these mega players, these first-round draft picks with big contracts, start them out at 1 year, then go to 3, see how it goes from there.
Well, the way they got the system set up, a player can spend almost 6 years in the minors before they even start getting into service time. Right. I mean, it's ridiculous in how they do it. That's one of the reasons why Chris Bryant got to stick around was, his first, what was going to be his rookie season, they held him back 2 weeks or whatever it was so that his rookie season didn't start, so his time didn't start.
Mm-hmm.
That's
it's like a red shirt situation.
Right. That's how that all works. Teams are smart. They know how to work it. This is one of those groups where, and you start seeing it with the Astros too, that when the Astros started to have to sell off those guys that they kind of homegrown talent, well, we're now to that point. Rizzo's leaving. Baez. Contreras still has a couple more years that they can work something out. I don't think that the Cubs are going to be big spenders. And I think the Cubs were not worried about that so much from backlash from Chicago because we started out so poorly that they were kind of hoping that maybe that trend would continue. They could pick up some pieces because really right now in the minors, there's nothing ready. There's nothing ready within the next season or two.
And that's what really worries me.
Yes.
That, we're ready to trade all these guys, but we really don't have anybody that can step. It's like, in the catching position. Contreras, I can see them trading him, but who's going to take his place?
Right.
Right.
I just don't think we're going to be playing in the free agent market much for them.
No, I don't think it worries me that we might try to hold on to a wild card spot where we would lose the next game on the playing game. And then here we are with all these people that we held on to when they could have picked up a prospect or two,
Yeah.
another player who's ready to come in, who could maybe make a difference on the team. And they kept it on a sad fact of thinking that they can win. But it's that commercial time. There's one place you never have to think about winning, and that, my friends, is at Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight is a daily fantasy sports gaming website for the casual sports fan that is simple, fun, and easy to play. Users determine which superstars competing in the day's professional sporting events will record more or less than the contest line provided. Monkey Knife Fight's daily fantasy prop games play similar to the salary cap-based DFS game, but without the algorithms, lineups, and most importantly, sharks. There are several contests to choose from, none of which require hours of research required on competing sites. You can start with a simple 2-2 or go to the highest payouts of 100 times and higher by selecting an 8-8 more or less contest. Get started now with a 100% instant match bonus of up to $100 with promo code HOLYCOW. It's all one word. Have you guys been playing?
No.
I can't say I have yet. I will.
Oh, man.
Listen,
Guys,
I have never played fantasy baseball, but I've played fantasy football every single year for like
fantasy
the last.
baseball's fun.
See, I've never played it. I need to get involved in it.
Hey, I do. I really love Home Run Derby. I think it's fun. It's $5,000 pot right now. It's a lot of great time. So, I loved being Uncle Rico, looking back on the past, feeling good about the past this week. But we've got to look forward to this week starting tonight while you're watching this show in the morning time. We've got Pittsburgh. We're going to Pittsburgh. The Cubs, we're not going to Pittsburgh. I'm starting to turn into that guy that I hate when they say we. Like, we're doing this off season, waiting for the sport because we're doing nothing. The GM does not care what we think. But the Cubs are going to Pittsburgh, and then they are back, and they are playing Cincinnati in Wrigley, and then they've got San Diego after that. So
Pittsburgh-wise, just
yes.
to do a little matchup. So the Cubs are 24-22, Pittsburgh 18-28. So difference there. And in fact, the Cubs are ahead in every level. Runs per game, Cubs 4.6, Pittsburgh 3.3. Then we got the at-bat batting average, 0.237 for the Cubs and 0.229 for Pittsburgh.
Not too much difference there.
Nope. And then on-base percentages, we got 0.311 for the Cubs and 0.295. Very close there. And then the slugging percentage, 0.402 for the Cubs and 0.342 for Pittsburgh. So it's pretty evenly matched. The Cubs still come out ahead, but for the most part, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, and the Pirates are they've lost 7 of their last 10.
Yeah.
And right now they've got a minus 78 run differential, which is never good.
No.
That's the thing.
Should be a series that we could and should sweep, but we went back there and early. I think that was our first road trip, and we were 1-2.
I really hope we do sweep it because I really want to see a matchup against Garrett again.
Yes.
Like bad. Ooh, I would love to be at that game.
I'm sure you could do it. I'm sure there's some fan out there that will fly you.
Hey, if I can throw first pitch, biggest bucket list ever. I'm telling you. And I can throw a ball. Center field, home plate, that's me.
There you go. We have now been challenged. Do you think Baez is going to hang around for that this season? This series. Do you think that you were talking about him trending up? This could be a season. This could be a series for him.
Nah.
No, Baez. No. I definitely see these next 2 series because the Reds are kind of in the same boat. They've lost their last 7, but their bats are still somewhat hot. They've still been able to score runs. Not as much of some of the things that have happened to Pittsburgh are illegal in some countries. The beating that they've received is just.
But I can't
1-1.
I can't say Cincinnati's pitching has been much better. Their bullpen has been a dumpster fire at times. They've given away a whole lot of. I still read the Cincinnati newspaper, and they've got some local writers that are just brutal because they picked the Reds to be World Series champions this year, and they're just grinding their teeth right now because the Reds are what they are and who they are, and I don't know if they'll ever get it figured out. I hope they don't against us, but time will tell.
Right. That's the thing that worries me about the Cubs. I was reading through one of the people on Bleacher Nation this morning, and one of the concerns that they brought up, and even I was right there with them, was a lot of the starting pitching for the Cubs don't see the batting order the third time through.
Yeah.
Alzolay is finally being able to. Davies doesn't go deep into games. 5 innings is really the deepest that you'll see him go. Arrieta, due to his age and kind of how he pitches, he's in the same boat. They don't really want to take him they don't want to take the distance with him. They don't, I guess, trust the arm as much as they could because he has been prone to some injuries later on in the career. But the bullpen has been deep and strong in the past month for the Cubs, and really, how long are they going to be able to keep that? Are they going to be able to make a run July, August, September where they're required to pitch 4 innings a game?
Yeah.
At some point it's got to break. It happened with Andrew Miller with the Indians. There's those relief pitchers that as the season gets going on, they get put in those clutch positions and they ride it out. But how long do we have with Winkler? A zero ERA. We've got guys in there that have 1.27. It was really that starting pitching that was causing high ERAs across the team. Yeah, we have players like Chafin who was giving up a lot of runs there towards the, in middle and end of April, but now has kind of seemed to settle into their role.
Yeah.
My series, I think they're going to win both series on that. I will take it and say they're going to win both series against Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Trash and Natty, whatever. The only thing they've got is Skyline Chili and Pete Rose.
Yeah.
And a ballpark that smells like BO and pit.
Yeah, I still can't. You build a brand new ballpark, and the Cincinnati skyline, it really is nice.
Yeah.
And you point your ballpark towards the Ohio River at the condos across the Ohio River in Newport, Kentucky. Made no sense. I mean, you look at
they want to be in Kentucky.
I'll never understand that. I mean, they had a chance to make that one of the nicest ballparks in the National and the Major Leagues. And it's okay. I mean, I go there a lot. It's not a bad place to watch a game. Seats are usually plentiful, even when the Cubs play. And, I don't mind sitting in the upper deck. And you get a great view up there for a lot of times less than $20. So, but then they all complain because, I've been to some Reds games down there where there's been actually more Cub fans than Reds fans. And that is just a big source of whatever for everybody down there in Cincinnati. But put a product on the field that wins and wins consistently. In the 70s, they had no problems filling that old ballpark.
Right.
So, people aren't going to come to watch you get beat 3 out of 4 games.
Well, here's the thing. We've got a lot of baseball coming up. So Monday off game for the Cubs. So the Pittsburgh game starts tonight. Pittsburgh, 3 against Cincinnati, 3 against San Diego, 4 against San Francisco, and then 3 against San Diego back in San Diego. And then an off day on Thursday, June 10th.
And San Diego has won 11 out of the 12, 8 in a row.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they've got a couple tough road trips coming up.
16 straight days of ball, guys.
It's going to be hard.
2 weeks and 2 days. This is beginning to be the grind. My optimism says that San Diego, they're a hot team right now. Cubs have had success against hot teams. When the Mets were there on fire at the beginning of the season, they took care of the Mets. They took care of the Cardinals this past weekend. I mean,
this is just going to come down to strategy when it comes to pitching and batting lineups and the works, because you don't want to put in your best before you need them against San Diego.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's going to be a fun week of baseball. That whole Memorial Day, it's a 120 game for San Diego. It should be a lot of fun. Maybe that could be the first day of the cold beers and curveballs
maybe
drinking games.
Maybe.
I think it could be. So we are shooting
Tell me,
for.
how many beers did I have at the pub run? Like 2?
Yeah, at the first stop.
That next day, let's just say that any drinking games I'll have to win.
No, we'll just have to, wherever you're going to be for the day, that's where you're going to end up.
Yeah, they'll someone get me a hotel, because that's what that's what I'm going to need.
We have an L couch at the apartment. You can just crash there.
An L for Lacey.
Yes.
Or for loser.
Or for lazy.
Oh, I am lazy. There's a reason I'm sitting on this couch. Freaking couch potato, man.
Couldn't even get her up to go into the dining room.
No.
So, Greg, you are a guy who loves to play the odds sometimes. What do we got? We got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and San Diego. Where do you see it lining up?
I see us winning 2, maybe all 3 in Pittsburgh, at least 2 against Cincinnati, maybe all 3. San Diego, it's a 4-game series.
A 3-game series.
3-game series.
I say we go down 2 in that series.
I could see us not winning that series.
Yep.
Yes, going 1-2, but I'll also say if we go 2-1, I would be very happy with that as well.
So Greg is going win for Cincinnati, win for Pittsburgh, and a loss for San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where you're sitting at?
Yeah, I think so.
If we could sweep Pittsburgh, if we lose 1, maybe 2 in San Diego, that would offset that to me a little bit.
I could see us sweeping Pittsburgh and then maybe going up 2 with the Reds. It's 4-game, right? 4-game?
No, it's a 2. It's a 3.
3-game. Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, I can see us going up 2 and knocking that out. And then, like I said, I think we'll be down 2 for San Diego.
Those are great. I think those are good picks. I'm going to be the optimist and say we win all 3, just so that somebody on the team can be a homer and say things like that. I'm going to say they sweep Pittsburgh, win 2 against the others.
Okay.
I think that's going to be it. We got Jake Arrieta tonight. Pitcher still being determined. I think they might be calling out an old roving pitching coordinator from Pittsburgh to maybe come pitch tonight, because they're just out of pitchers. Like this past weekend, just completely depleted the bullpen. It was a nasty weekend to be a Pirates fan. I know, because I'm friends with one and I followed her Twitter feed. So it was a good time. Luckily, they still have the Pittsburgh Penguins in town. They'll still make that a city.
Yeah.
And one thing that's kind of help us too, I'm looking at the Cardinals. They start their road trip tonight. 3 against the White Sox, 4 against the Diamondbacks, and 3 against the Dodgers, all on the road. So they could very easily lose all 3 series.
And they did not do too well out on the road last time against San Diego.
No, and I think Arizona, if Arizona could take 2 of the 4, I'd be happy with that.
Speaking of Arizona, did you see what happened the other night when the Diamondbacks, I can't believe where they were. I can't remember where they were at, but Jason Reddick, who used to play for the Astros when the whole sign stealing happened, their organ player played I Saw the Sign by Ace of Base when he came up to bat. I was like, and then the broadcaster was like, I think it was more I Heard the Sign. Yeah. So still getting their ass ripped for that whole ordeal. I love it. I love the controversial stuff. Yes.
I mean, people don't go to hockey games to freaking just watch hockey. They want to see the fights. They want to see the good stuff.
Speaking of fights, guys, The guy in Colorado decided not to press charges against the Padres fan who knocked the crap out of him.
He did. He knocked him smooth out.
So I knew something. I mean, the dude walked stone cold like WrestleMania 47 across an entire section, got to the dude and just laid him out. There had to be a backstory. The cops were called. They showed up. He went to jail. The guy said, I don't want to press charges. They released the dude. So
What was the backstory? I don't think I got that.
no one ever got the backstory.
knows.
No one knows, but there's something that happened. I'm pretty sure the Padres dude probably warned him and was like, you keep running that mouth, bud. I'm going to come over there. And sure enough, because you can tell in the background, there's a lady,
The
like
Mike
one lady,
Tyson Punch-Out video game.
one lady's already like, I got my phone. The other lady's just like,
I saw like 3 or 4 different angles of it.
yeah. And every angle was gold.
Dude, if it would take everything in me not to come unglued in a situation like that. Especially if they're around me and I'm trying to watch a freaking game. I'd be like, come on, go take it out somewhere else.
The only story I have that could even get close to that was we were at a Tulsa Drillers game. It was me and my family. And it was on one of those like Thirsty Thursday nights or whatever, where it was cheap beer.
Mm-hmm.
And this group of people were sitting behind us, and we asked somebody to take our family picture. We were one of those. And these guys were on like DWI probation.
It's the DWI guys' cups.
Yeah. So the guys behind us are drinking, and they're on DWI probation, and they're all like this the whole time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, my mom, like, because my sister cropped it, put it on Facebook or whatever. My mom's like, you should have left it because all of those guys were just sitting like this while we were taking pictures. So, well, speaking of pictures, guys, this will be up today. Check it out at 3 o'clock. We are going to be selling limited edition prints from Courtney Leach, our Holy Cow show. I like it.
Yeah, she's our Holy Cow artist.
Yes. Which, guys, don't know if she wants me to say anything to anybody, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. She's been working on some Bears art for the different games this coming year. So
sweet.
Might be able to sell some of those. Also, we want to thank the guys over at Obvious Shirts, which I think is only one guy, Joe. He's a good guy. You can pick up the Holy Cow shirt. If you use the code HOLYCOW5, you can get any of your order for $5 off. I actually got the new Soldier Fields shirt, which is awesome. They've also got one for Team Mongo to help out with his ALS. Guys, is there anything else?
I don't know.
Well, you guys have been really awesome. I've enjoyed this show. Giving the fans what they asked for.
What?
More of Lacey.
Oh.
She was suspended last week. She's kind of like our Dennis Rodman. She just needed a few 48 hours for a vacation.
Even Dennis Rodman.
Hey, play like Jordan, party like Rodman. That should be your life motto.
Listen, I'm not trying to kill that many brain cells at once.
That was Greg's teaching motto. Teach like Jordan, coach like Rodman.
No.
And he's a crazy cat guy now. Do your cats have? I saw some of these like butthole jewels. I'm just waiting for one of your cats to pop up with a butthole jewel.
No, we're not doing that shit. So, no, we're not going to emasculate them, even though they're females. I'm not going to do that to them. Of course, my 2 new ones are going to be enough to keep me busy anyway. The kittens being kittens, but so far so good. We haven't had any major fights yet with the 2 older ones.
I've noticed that you've got your shelf closed back there. Is that because of the new kittens?
No, they can climb up onto my chair, but I clipped their nails yesterday, so that really has reduced their climbing abilities. But
I feel like you're a better parent to the cats than I am to my boys.
Hey, I don't know. I've heard Greg yell at his cats, and it sounded very similar to how you were getting on the boys earlier before the show.
Listen, I had someone tell me one time.
You don't yell
threatened
profanities at your boys. I yell profanities at my cats.
I turned so Southern when it comes to my kids messing up. I'm like, first of all, go get the soap. We're going to have a timeout right now. Mama's going to beat you with whatever I can find.
Yeah.
Whoa! Now I gotta edit things.
Kidding.
Yep.
No,
Coat
my
hangers.
kids are
Don't use
actually
the coat
really
hanger.
my kids are actually really good kids. Besides the younger one, I think everyone's got like a younger one that's just wild.
Well, I've always
Got one, and she is.
the youngest in any family is always the one that has that good opportunity to be the whatever the one of the bunch, just because the oldest tends to be the most responsible because they're the ones that always have to do whatever for the rest of the clan.
I'm the oldest.
So am
I'm
I.
the responsible one.
And my sister, I love her, but you talk about spoiled.
Oh, that's my sister. There's me, and then my sister, who literally I get in trouble, and she takes up for me. So I don't have to like fight my own battles.
My sister got away with murder. It was just amazing.
My kid being the only child.
Give it time.
Well, the other day I was, like we were doing whatever. We were hanging out. We were playing. And she stopped me. She goes, Dad. And I said, what? She goes, can I call you fat, or is that going to hurt your feelings? And I said, well, it's not going to hurt my feelings because Dad knows that he's big, but you probably shouldn't do that. And she goes, yeah, my grandma says I have to stop calling people fat because it could be mean.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So we're now working on that. Also, lady at Walmart, I'm sorry she called you a dumb broad.
Oh, my gosh.
I was going to say, better keep your daughter out of Walmart and all county fairs because it's going to see a lot of fat people.
Yeah. She called a lady a dumb broad. I remember one day we were driving and this guy was taking forever and she's like, Dad, did he just ruin our day? And I was like, yeah, because I remember, I'm like, come on, man, just drive like an idiot and ruin everyone's day. And she was like, is that guy going to ruin our day? Then she told me that she was going to get old enough and put me in the car seat and she would drive and yell at everybody. So
see, this is the difference between my two. My older one is like, Mom, you look beautiful today. I love the way you did your hair today. The younger one comes over and is like, why do you look like that? I'm like, okay. Like, there's the difference. Like, the older one's like, I think you're always beautiful. Younger one's like, you got something on your teeth. Your breath smells. Like, why do you look like that?
Why are you trying so hard today? Are we getting a new dad?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I have been working on that with Emily. Is anybody that comes around, she's like, now is this my new grandma? And I'm like, you're not getting a new grandma. Like, just because there's another old lady that came walking up to you. You're at a church. First off, there's a lot of old ladies here. They're not all going to be your new grandma.
That's hilarious. No, My younger one, straight up, he'll just walk around, and we were in Walmart, and there was an older woman in front of us who had pleated slacks on, but she had a wedgie. So my younger one decided to just go poke right there in the center. Oh. I have never got out of that aisle so fast in my life. I left him. I was like, boop, around the corner.
We were sitting in handicap seating with my daughter at a ball game, and she had one of them big foam fingers that was bigger than she was. And she was leaned over the railing, poking the drunk people in front of us.
Okay, now that's funny.
Yeah, she's going, poke, because we were like, what is she doing? And then we looked down, and all these people are looking up at us. I'm like, I am so sorry.
That's hilarious.
Well, maybe we'll do a show about all of our cat kids and our regular kids and our...
Let's not and say we did.
You call them fur babies, Greg?
No, I don't call them fur babies.
Oh, thank God.
The white one, I call him a lot of things, and it's not always good.
No.
He realizes, usually it's ending with, you need to realize who still feeds you and who still,
Can I do the same to my family?
Yes.
You probably have a little bit more luck than I do because mine just gives me that look like whatever. I mean, the cat, a lot of times he just rolls over.
And that's because he knows, Greg, that if you became unable to feed him, he would eat you.
I was going to say I would be, I might be in trouble if I ever pass with these cats.
Yeah.
Because at least they'd be fed for a few weeks.
Yeah. I would just assume that you just got tired of doing the show. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. We got to get out of here and get rolling, guys. Until next time, go Cubs, go.
Adios.